Welcome to Airplay Escape. Unlock the full audiobook experience and exclusive perks by joining our Patreon community. Dive deeper into the stories you love. Just click the link in the description below, and thank you for supporting this journey.
Football, Rising from Ruin to Conquer the Monster Player Era. Episode 51. And this teenager is none other than Li Youran. The reason why he came to this dilapidated stadium is very simple. That is, at home the mother who cares about him will often force him to rest, which will indeed take him a lot of time. So Li Youran got up early in the morning and came here with 2 footballs to practice. The only inconvenient thing was that after shooting he had to get the ball back by himself. When you're at home there will be a maid to help a little easier, but to have a mandatory rest for so long compared to the 2, it is better to come out, although you have to pick up the ball yourself. But you can have more time to rest, and the lunchtime can also be used to practice. So although it is troublesome, Li Youran still ran out by himself, although it is inevitable to have a meal when he goes back, but there is no way. I have to say that Li Youran's practice still worked, and there was indeed more progress outside than at home. And on the 3rd day of the task, Li Youran went home at 11 o'clock at night and completed the daily goal task for the first time on the 3rd day. And it has completed more than 6,800 times more than expected, which is a small amount to make up for the delay in the previous 2 days, and has completed more than 15 goals, but it is still far from completing the task of completing 10 balls. After returning home, I didn't expect to be nagged seeing Li Youran, who looked tired. Li Jimei really couldn't bear to say it again, but in my heart, I didn't like my son to play football, but I was still persuaded by Li Tianan. On the 4th day of the mission, Li Youran sneaked out the door to practice as usual, or went to the dilapidated stadium, although it was broken, but for Li Youran this was already a secret training place. When this day came out, Li Youran was still fully focused on practicing, although he was very tired, but for Li Youran it was very enjoyable and happy from the heart. Bang! Inside the stadium, the sound of the football being kicked continued to sound. The football turned into a long rainbow, penetrating the goal and hanging on the net at a speed that ordinary people could not catch with the naked eye. Each ball carried amazing power, and the surface of the football was scarred and dusty. This ball was only used by Li Youran, who began the task 4 days ago, and in just 4 days it has become dilapidated, constantly bearing huge impulses, and the wear and tear of the football has also increased. Not only the football, but even the wear of the spikes has accelerated. 18,000 to keep progress. Today's target is 22,000. Kicking the ball out again, Li Youran gasped, although it was only one morning, but he already felt that his physical strength was exhausted, and the completion of the previous 2 days was not ideal, so Li Youran hoped that he could catch up in these days. Both footballs were inside the goal, and Li Youran was about to step forward to pick up the ball, but saw that at this time a pair of slender and white hands suddenly appeared holding a football on the ground. Light snow? Seeing this, Li Youran was slightly stunned. Looking at the figure in front of me was a little surprised. Why is Xiao Yu practicing here? The person who came was Sibo Shinxue. Li Youran was surprised. She was also surprised when she saw it. She thought she was wrong. Oh, originally I practiced at home, but my mother wouldn't let me practice for too long, so I sneaked out to practice here. Li Youran scratched his head awkwardly after hearing the sound and said. This way Sibo Shinxue felt a little funny when he heard it and thought that he really looked like Xiao Yu's personality. I'll bring it for you. He knows that Li Youran is a person who loves football extremely seriously, which she can see through Li Youran's performance in school. He said with a smile, and then picked up another football which is relatively small and lighter, and girls can easily pick up 2. Soon trotted in front of Li Youran. Li Youran looked at the scene a little stunned, felt very moved in his heart, and unconsciously showed a smile. Thank you. Xiao Yu doesn't need to be polite with me. However, what about you practice outside for lunch and dinner? Sibo Shinxue helped Li Youran put the ball on the ground and asked a little worriedly. Oh, I brought lunch and I went back to eat it after dinner. Li Youran subconsciously responded. After hearing the sound, Sibo Shinxue listened and also subconsciously glanced at the sidelines and found that there was a towel on the ground not far away, and a carton of milk and bread was placed on the towel. Looking at the scene, Sibo Shinxue frowned slightly and then asked, what time do you come home at night? Around 11. The light snow retreats a little. It is very dangerous. The ball returned to his feet, and Li Youran's attention returned to the football, and he said while backing away. Sibo Shinxue subconsciously retreated a little when he heard the sound, but listened to Li Youran say that he would go home at about 11 o'clock at night, and his frown deepened. Although he said so, it is estimated that if he goes back so late he will not necessarily finish eating, so how can his body hold up? Bang! Whoosh! When I was thinking about it in my heart, I suddenly heard a loud noise ringing in my ears, and then I felt a gust of air passing by my hair, and clothes were blown with the wind, and then I looked at the football in front of me that was already hanging on the net, and Sibo Shinxue was also frightened by the power of the shot just now. Li Youran didn't say much and kicked the second ball out again. The power was still amazing, but this time Sibo Shinxue was mentally prepared and was not too surprised. After completing it twice, Li Youran planned to step forward again to pick up the ball, and watching Li Youran walk over, Sibo Shinxue couldn't help but ask, does Xiao Yu like football? Of course, while walking towards the goal, he subconsciously responded, I didn't feel Sibo Shinxue's emotions at this time. But even if you like it, you don't have to fight like that, right? Listening to Li Youran's response, Sibo Shinxue asked again. Do you know Senior Masugi? Li Youran just picked up the ball and turned around, and after hearing the sound he was cold for a while, then thought for a while, and looked up at Sibo Shinshue and asked, "Of course you know football genius Lioli Ace Musashi Junior High School Football Club captain, one of the strongest junior high school students in the country. How could she not know about the students of the same school? You know what? He loved football just as much, but he didn't even have a chance to fight." Episode 52. Since she met Liu, she has also begun to care about some football matters, and the first thing she knows is of course the captain of the same school, Jun Masugi, not only the captain of Musashi, but also rumored to be one of the top junior high school players in the country. Known as the most talented player, it is a pity that he suffered from a congenital heart disease which made him unable to run on the court, but even so he was still named a genius. A genius if not dragged down by that sick body. He may have become the #1 middle school student in the country because of heart disease. Even if he wants to practice desperately, there is no way, which is the greatest sadness. The difference is that I have a healthy body and I am already much luckier than Sansuji. However, Masugi still trains hard, even if he has a heart attack, and at the same time he has to endure the painful and endless rehabilitation process every day, which is enough to break the torment of any determined person, but it does not wear down his passion for football. Compared to him, why don't I work hard? While talking, Li Youran picked up the football again and came to the shooting point. Sibo Shinshue listened to Li Yuran's words and also found that Li Youran unconsciously stood in front of the goal again, put the ball on the ground, and slowly got up looking firmly at the goal in front of him. If you ask me why I fight so hard, it's because I want to play not only Sansuji, but also many players who have been named talents. I want to compete with them. Wait, this is just the beginning. These 100,000 goals are the of my determination to challenge them. Bang. When the words fell, Li Youran had already rushed out, kicked forward again, and thundered in his ears, and Sibo Shinshue was in front of him as if he saw the football flashing red light and rushing towards the goal, and his heart was even more shocked. 100,000 balls. What kind of concept is 100,000 balls? Even if she knows that Li Youran came here to practice, she doesn't know that Li Youran plans to practice 100,000 balls. Even for football players, this is an amazing number, not to mention Sibo Shinshue, a person who does not understand football. Looking ahead, Li Youran, who still maintained the shooting action, sweat spilled in the air, shimmering like crystal in the sun, hair flying and jerseys fluttering with an indescribable charm, making Sibo Shinshue's eyes flicker slightly. I understand. I will support Xiao Yu. Come on. After Sibo Shinshue reacted, he seemed to be infected by Li Yuran's emotions and nodded solemnly. Thank you. It's almost time for the young lady to go home for dinner. At this time, a voice came from the grassy slope behind, and when he saw the black car the driver was shouting at the side with his mobile phone. Sibo Shinshue responded when he heard this, and then looked at Li Youran again. Xiao Yu, I'll go back first. If you have time, I'll help you pick up the ball. Sibo Shinshue also seemed to have made up his mind. After speaking without waiting for Li Youran to respond, he turned around and trotted towards the side of the road. Li Youran looked at her departing back and smiled unconsciously on his face. Anyway, it always feels good to be understood and supported. Thank you, Xiao Xue. Although she couldn't hear it anymore, Li Youran still said thanks, then turned around again, collected her emotions, and looked at the goal in front of her again, as if it was not a goal but a powerful opponent. No matter how many strong opponents there are in the future, I will carry out my determination to the end. Bang. Roar. In the shabby stadium sky, as the football was kicked out, as if remembering the high-pitched dragon groan, the football shot into the goal and hung on the net. The power seemed to be higher than before. The rotating football rubbed against the net, causing the net to emit a burst of smoke, and the air was filled with a slight scorching smell. On this day, Li Youran seemed to be open to Rindu's second pulse. After stopping practice, Li Youran successfully completed 22,000 shots, but this is far from enough. 4 days have passed since the mission time, and he started practicing at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on the first day. In other words, he had to end at 12 noon on the last day of the holiday, which was a lot less time. Secondly, the original goal was 6,666 shots a day, but at present there is still time left, and more than 7,000 shots per day are needed. But Li Youran's practice is now more and more handy, and he seems to be getting used to it physically, so even if it is not as expected, Li Youran believes that he can complete it. Day 5 of the mission. Sibo Family Mansion. Early in the morning, in the kitchen of the Sibo family's mansion, there was a figure humming a song in the morning. Busy in the kitchen, and a cute pink lunchbox was placed on the table. The white rice decorated with black sesame seeds in the lunchbox can be seen exactly as a football pattern with white rice, and another lunchbox next to it can be seen that various styles of dishes are carefully placed inside. The appetizing hamburger and fried chicken nuggets are served with cherry tomatoes, carrots, shiitake mushrooms, and mashed potatoes, and a cauliflower is carefully garnished with chopsticks, and finally half a loose egg is placed on top. A bento with an appetite and healthy match is made, and the box with the vegetables is placed on the lunchbox, then wrapped in cloth, and a Japanese-style bento is knotted. Good done. Xiao Xue, what are you going to do when you make a bento early in the morning? Isn't it a holiday? At this moment, a graceful, middle-aged, beautiful woman walked into the kitchen, looked at the bento on the table, and immediately showed a puzzled look on her face. Nope, I made an appointment with my classmates to hang out, so I made a bento that mom. I made breakfast, you hurry up, I'll go first. This kid runs slowly. The beautiful woman looked at her own woman's stormy appearance and quickly spoke, but I also feel a little strange. My daughter is usually well-behaved, and she won't be like this in a hurry. What's wrong today? Episode 53. Sawamura, has there been anything unusual about Koyuki lately? After Sibo Shinshua left, the woman found the housekeeper, who usually went with the driver to pick up Sibo Shinshua to and from school. And recently she also felt that her daughter was a little strange. Her daughter has excellent grades, usually very sensible, almost don't have to worry much. But recently she also found that her daughter is a little abnormal when helping her clean up the room. She also saw a lot of books about football. In the past, her own daughter never paid attention to this. Even her husband did not pay attention to his daughter when he watched sports channels, but recently it is indeed a bit abnormal, as if suddenly interested. It's Madam. Recently Miss Xiaoxua has met a new friend. His name is Li Youran, and he is a classmate with Miss. It sounds like a boy, and Li Youran seems to be the name of a Yan countryman. The woman also paused slightly. Her own daughter, although not the kind of willful, but usually quiet, so there are not many friends. This suddenly has an additional friend, or a male friend, which makes her a mother a little worried. It can be said that she knows very well that her daughter has never had a male friend. This is the first time she has heard of it. The most important thing is that simple friends are nothing. Looking at the appearance of her daughter just now, the bento is obviously not what she wants to eat. Assuming that the bento is made for this Li Youran, it is worth caring about, although she can cook, but usually even her own bento is prepared by the maid in the house. She has not made a bento for herself by herself, and has to let the association of being a mother. Yes, this classmate Li Youran is indeed from the Yen kingdom, and he was recently transferred to Musashi country. The housekeeper did not hide it. He was a professional butler, and he was still in the Sibo family for many years. It can also be said that Sibo Shinshua grew up watching him, so Sibo Shinshua usually contacts anyone and knows anyone. He will not care, but he will find out because he knows that sooner or later the old lady will also ask. I just transferred recently, so familiar? Yes, ma'am. Here's the thing, the housekeeper told the woman how Li Youran and Sibo Shinshua met. So that's the case. It sounds like a good boy. The woman sounded slightly better, sounded at least a good child, and although she was still young, wasn't it very romantic? Yes, I have observed that this classmate Li Youran has a good conversation and education, and does not look like an ordinary child. Well, in your opinion, will the bento box made by Xiaoxua be made for this classmate? The woman listened and asked. She still trusted the housekeeper's vision. It is very likely that this little classmate, who now seems to have joined the school's football team, is currently practicing alone on the field outside every day, and it seems that he will not go home at noon, and the young lady may be a bento box for him. Yesterday, he also went out with Sibo Shinshua and naturally saw Li Youran. Madam, are you trying to stop it? Sawamura asked, a little worried. No, but help me check the family situation of these little students. The woman shook her head slightly when she heard this. Their family is not an old-fashioned family, plus the time of this world is slightly ahead. After all, the time when the football boy manga began to be serialized was very early, so the view of time is also very early. Of course, the development degree of the world is not lost to the previous life, but the concept of the older generation is still relatively advanced, and it is not very repulsive to emotional matters, and her daughter is also very sensible, and she is not worried about her daughter doing something out of the ordinary. As for the investigation, it's not that she has any portal opinion. She and her husband have given their daughter the best thing since she was a child. As long as it is what her daughter likes, the couple will not object, but depending on the situation, her daughter's ecology for this male ecology is indeed different. So no matter what, it is still necessary to understand the other party's situation and make sure that the other party is indeed a good child, as the housekeeper Sawamura said, so that she can rest assured. Yes, the butler nodded when he heard this. Riverside course. Bang whoops. On the side of the riverside court, as usual, a figure sweats in the dilapidated court. The sound of the football being kicked, the sound of the ball shooting into the goal and rubbing the net can be heard as long as it is close. Xiaoyu kicking out a ball, just about to kick the second kick out. Li Yuran's ears suddenly sounded a familiar voice, and the movement was slight, but soon concentrated again, or kicked out the football in front of him. After the football hung on the internet again, Li Youran stopped moving, then turned his head to look at the side of the court. Just listening to his name, Li Youran knew who was coming. Looking at Sibo Shinshua and then at the lawn slope behind her, I didn't see a car. It seemed to be coming by myself, but it was a little unexpected. Usually there is a car to pick up. Why are you here? Li leisurely walked to the side of the court, picked up a towel, and wiped the sweat on her face, although she was still very happy in her heart, but she couldn't help but ask. Hey, here you go. Sibo Shinshua said solemnly. At the same time, his face was a little nervous. He lowered his head slightly and handed a package in his hands to Li Youran. Just like the shy girl in the island country anime meets the boy she likes, wants to send something, and is worried that the other party will not accept it, so she pushes forward with something in both hands and dare not look at the other party with her head down, which makes Li Youran a little stunned. What? Li Youran was curious, but he still reached out and took it and then carefully opened the package. It was found to be a 2-layer lunchbox. The first layer can see the colorful meat and vegetable matching, and it is obviously a bento box for quiet plating, while the second layer is white rice, but it is also carefully decorated with black sesame seeds and rice into a football pattern, which shows that the owner is very attentive. Ah, this is for me? Li Youran looked a little surprised. Hey, I know that I will waste some time, but Xiaoyu's special training is so tired, and the nutrition can't keep up if you just eat bread for lunch. After all, Xiaoyu's training is very hard, so I made my own bento. When Sibo Shinxue said these words, his tone was somewhat embarrassed. After all, doing this kind of thing for boys is still a relatively intimate act for girls. Episode 54. Thank you listening to Sibo Shinxue's serious words. Li Youran was moved in his heart. Coming to this world, someone cares so much about himself, it is his parents. But except for them, no one cares so much about themselves. The two adults around him, Li Tian and the father, cares about him. He will give whatever he wants basically, as long as he does not commit adultery. Li Tianan will support himself. Mother Li Jimei is more doting on herself. Li Tianan can give herself. She is also willing to give in addition to a kind of maternal care and distress. Compared to Li Tianan is concerned about him in details, but compared to his father, his mother is less considerate of his determination to chase his dreams. This is also why there is a court in my home, but I have to go outside to practice. But the girl in front of me seems to be different. Obviously, there is not such a close relationship. She did not always nag and insist on not letting herself practice like her mother, and she would not show how much she supported herself, but supported and cared for herself with actions. Worried that she was not physically fit, so she helped herself prepare a bento. It's already noon, so eat quickly. Sibo Shinxue was also very happy to hear Li Youran thank you, glanced at the time, and then spoke. She also didn't want to affect Li Youran's practice too much because of her own reasons. Good. Li Youran listened and smiled and then sat on the grass next to the court, and Sibo Shinxue also sat down next to him. Li leisurely picked up the hamburger meat and ate it. Sibo Shinxue's craftsmanship is really good. This bento has a feeling in an island anime. Just watching the anime, I feel that the bento in the anime is very delicious. In addition to being a little colder, the taste is really good, but this is a bento box, cannot be asked more. After all, she sent it from afar, may also be afraid of being seen at home, so this time did not take the family car over. Somewhat lost, secretly dating feeling. That is that delicious? Although he is confident in his craft, it may be the first time to make bento boxes for boys, so Sibo Shinxue is still a little shy, but at the same time he looks at Li Youran with hope and expectation in his eyes. This is the best bento I've ever eaten. Li Youran turned his head to look at Sibo Shinxue and said with a smile, this is the truth, because he basically does not eat bento as a Yan countryman. He still prefers to eat a little hot things, so he basically eats in the cafeteria or eats in the restaurant outside the school, so the family will not prepare a bento box for him. Therefore, this is really the best bento for Li Youran. A few days ago there was no deep snow. Milk bread. Mat bar is also counted, although this bento is a little cold, but for Li Youran there is still a temperature. And much better than milk bread. Of course, Li Youran as a football player cannot always eat milk bread and other things at home. There is actually a nutritionist to prepare him a specific nutritious meal recipe. However, because of the task to be completed during this period of time, there is no way to eat normally like before. That's good, then I'll do it for you tomorrow. Listening to Li Youran's praise, Sibo Shinxue was very happy and a charming smile appeared on his face. Wouldn't that bother you too much? Li Youran frowned slightly, although he said that he was very moved and it was indeed better than making a living by himself, but it was indeed too troublesome for her, although she didn't know how far her home was from here, but looking at the temperature of the bento, it should not be too close. No, I don't have anything to do on vacation. I can just come over and watch Xiaoyu play football. Sibo Shinxue shook his head softly in response. Bright eyes looked at Li Youran seriously, full of seriousness. Alright then, when my training is over, please eat a big meal to repay you. Looking at Sibo Shinxue's eyes, Li Youran didn't know how to refuse and finally agreed. Good. After eating, he simply rested for a while and then started practicing again, although strenuous exercise after meals is not very good, but now Li Youran can't care so much how many geniuses in this world have blocked their entire careers for their dreams, although they have lost it once in their last life. But Li Youran is not afraid. Hard work may not necessarily succeed, but if you do not work hard, you will not succeed. Jun Sansuji has never given up for football, and Kong Yi has only taken a closed shot to help Nange bring San Lian to gambling on his career. No one is a fluke, so Li Youran doesn't care if his body will be. If he doesn't fight now, he may regret it in the future because of today's retreat. And Sibo Shinxue seemed to have not stopped it like a tacit understanding. Not only did not stop it, she also silently helped Li Youran pick up the ball, helped Li Youran save time so that Li Youran could practice better. I practiced with Li Youran until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had to go home, so I said goodbye to Li Youran and left. Looked at the back of Sibo Shinxue's departure, stopped practicing the movement, stepped on the football, looked at her departing back and smiled unconsciously on her face. The words that Sibo Shinxue said to himself when he left echoed in his ears. I'm looking forward to the day when you wins on the court. Come on. After speaking, he ruffled the hair next to his ear and turned to leave. Now there is one more person's expectation and another reason to work hard. Come on, Li Youran. Bang. Muttering as soon as the words fell, Li Youran suddenly turned to look at the goal in front of him. His eyes flashed, raised his foot to shoot, raised his leg, and shot the football like a shooting star from outside the box through the goal and hung on the net again. Although he still went home tired in the end, it actually made Li Youran more motivated, and on the 6th, 7th, and 8th days Li Youran accelerated the training speed while the iron was hot and the progress of the task was much higher than in previous days. And in the next few days, Siboshinshua seemed to be used to it, coming to deliver bento boxes every day at noon, and would accompany Li leisurely to practice until the afternoon before going back, unconsciously establishing an inexplicable bond between boys and girls. Episode 55. Time passed day by day. The whole holiday was nearing the end, and the time came to the last day. During this time, Li Youran could clearly feel that the shooting was constantly improving, and he felt more and more handy. On the last day, half a day to be exact, because on the first day of the mission he started at noon, so the mission will also end at 12 noon on this day. In the first 14 days, Li Youran practiced hard, and in the first 14 days he completed more than 97,000 goals, and only the last 2,000 goals were left to complete the task. It doesn't seem like much, but in fact Li Youran left from home to the stadium in the morning. It was only 6 o'clock in the morning, and there were only 6 hours left before the task was completed, which was half less than the original, but he was still confident with more than 2,000 balls left. In the past, he was able to complete 60 to 70 balls a day. 2,000 balls in 6 hours was completely enough, and a little influence was that Siboshinshua usually came to deliver the bento box at noon, so there was no one to help pick up the ball in the morning. During this holiday time, in addition to harvesting ball skills, Li Youran also harvested 2 pairs of broken sneakers and 3 broken footballs, and under his high-intensity and high-power shot, sneakers and football could not be carried. Thanks to the good family conditions, if you want to change to an ordinary family, it is really a little unaffordable. Rao is Li Youran's football and sneakers are tailor-made and of excellent quality. It didn't stand up to Li Youran's use. Of course, the damaged football and sneakers are proof of the growth of a football player, and any pair of sneakers and soccer balls are full of the sweat of the players. After such high-intensity training for a consecutive holiday, Li Youran's physical fitness is a huge test. Even if it is a strengthened body, even those world-class stars, not every game can participate. After playing continuously some less important games, those superstars will cultivate and restore their physical fitness, and Li Youran has been training almost non-stop during this time. Today, I don't know if the system deliberately increased the difficulty of the task, or the heavens deliberately played him. Came to the court by the river after playing continuously for more than 3 hours. Originally maintained the state, it was completely possible to complete the task, but at 9 o'clock the sky suddenly fell a light rain. When it first started to rain, Li Youran didn't care. A little rain had no effect on him at all, but this rain didn't mean to stop at all, but it was getting bigger, and slowly the light rain turned into heavy rain. The whole stadium has begun to accumulate water. This course is ordinary mud ground. All potholes quickly accumulated rain, and after the rain the ground also became slippery under the heavy rain. Li Youran's vision was also greatly affected. Not only that, but Li Youran himself is the same. Originally strong exercise, sweaty body temperature also rose, and at this time suddenly poured rain. The body cooled. In addition to the body's joints will lose coordination, as we all know that after strenuous exercise cannot immediately touch cold water. These Li Youran can still support after the rain. After the jersey and spikes are wet, the body seems to increase the weight in plain white. Without Li Youran can only take off the sphere, only wearing a sports vest with bottoms. Not only itself, but also the ball itself will improve after soaking in the rain, and the surface of the ball becomes slippery, which will also affect the angle of the ball. Bang! Hoo hoo hoo! The sky resounded with the roar of thunder and lightning, and in the football field a thin figure stood under the heavy rain, panting heavily in his mouth, and even in this downpour it seemed that he could hear the sound of gasping. Li leisurely looked at the goal in front of him. His eyes were full of firmness. His feet stepped on the football, looked ahead, and slowly retreated. Fortunately, although the rain was very heavy, there was not much wind. Does that stop me? Don't say it's a rain. Even if it's a sea of fire, you can't stop me. Li Youran stared ahead and rushed in the direction of the football without hesitation. Bang! Bang! A kick out. The football flies out sharply. The high-speed rotation turns the rain falling on the football away. The trajectory of the football flying. You can see the rain constantly being thrown away in the air, although the rain is cold, but cannot extinguish the enthusiasm poured into the football. Sibo family mansion. Temporary news reports today's typhoon in Kanagawa Prefecture landed, is currently moving at high speed in the direction of Tokyo, is expected to arrive in Tokyo before 12 noon. The wind turbine has reached level 7. The current train in various parts of Tokyo has been suspended. Please take precautions as soon as possible. Close the doors and windows to reduce going out. Will there be a typhoon today? At this time in the mansion, Siboshinshua happened to be watching TV. Weather news is being broadcast on TV because the island country is prone to earthquakes and typhoons, so this type of safety news is very common. Siboshinshua muttered, and then walked to the window, looked out the window. It was already pouring rain. Then there is no way to go to Xiaoyu today, Siboshinshua said to himself in disappointment, but just after that, Wait a minute, as soon as he finished speaking, a brilliant light suddenly flashed in Si Bo Shinchua's mind. Xiao, you should not. At first I just thought about the heavy rain, and there was about to be a typhoon, and I should have been unable to go out, but when Li Youran was mentioned, a picture suddenly flashed in my mind, which was the picture of Li Youran practicing at the riverside court. She knew that Li Youran would go very early every day when it hadn't started to rain, and now it was starting to fall. He said at that time after the summer vacation he must finish training. Should it still be outside the stadium? Nope. Thinking of the Si Bo Shinchua subconsciously lost his voice, immediately quickly turned around and ran downstairs, came to the door of the house, so he pulled out an umbrella and ran out. At this time the servants in the mansion were shocked when they saw this. Miss, where are you going? Soon a typhoon is coming, the servants shouted in panic. Episode 56. Uncle Sawamura, I'm going to the stadium. Hearing Si Bo Shinchua say that he was going to the stadium, Sawamura's first reaction was the stadium by the river, and he also knew that the young lady would pass during this time and their family would not be followed everywhere. Madam also said that there is no need to stare, so this holiday Si Bo Shinchua has always gone alone, but Sawamura also knows that Li Youran is practicing there, and when he heard Si Bo Shinchua say that he wanted to go over, his first reaction was because of Li Youran. Miss, it's raining so much, Youran shouldn't go over to practice. Besides, it's raining so much, even if he is there he will definitely go home. Miss, don't go over, the typhoon is coming. Sawamura was a little worried the typhoon was coming, naturally worried about the safety of Si Bo Shinchua. He must be there, and even if it rains he won't necessarily leave. The typhoon will come soon. I'm going to tell him, Si Bo Shinchua said worriedly, although she couldn't be sure. She just had this hunch that he must still be there. But seeing this, Sawamura was a little worried and didn't know what to do. After all, the old lady was not there, and he had to be responsible for the safety of the young lady. Uncle Sawamura, just let me go, I'll definitely go back soon. This so be it, I'll accompany you with Ida so it's safer and faster. Seeing that Si Bo Shinchua really insisted, Sawamura was worried that if he didn't promise the young lady, he would run away secretly, so he could only agree, but he couldn't let her go by herself. It is safer to drive faster. Well, thank you, Uncle Sawamura. Li family, what's going on with this kid? The typhoon is coming, and if you don't come back you don't even want your life to play football. On the other side, in the Li family, Li Jimei was already going crazy. During this time, she actually did not object to Li Youran continuing to practice, because although she looked tired every time, she could see that her child was happy from the bottom of her heart. And Li Youran went out to practice every day, and she didn't object, because if Li Youran was at home she would really can't help but let him rest when she saw Li Youran practicing so crazy, so she just let him anyway. The holiday is almost over. Now she regrets a little she didn't let Li Youran go home early to practice. It rained, and thought that Li Youran would come back herself, but she didn't expect that this was already out of the typhoon news. He hadn't come back yet. How could a mother not be worried? No, I'm going to find him. Madam, the typhoon is coming soon. Let's go find young Master Youran, Lu Bo hurriedly said. After hearing the sound they knew where Li Youran practiced and secretly followed under Li Jimei's orders, implying that at this time they couldn't let Li Jimei go by herself. Don't say it, I must go in person. Yes, Riverside course. Hoo. Riverside Court. The wind is howling, although it has not yet reached the level of a typhoon, but it is completely different from the original heavy rain, and it will not affect people's actions under normal circumstances, but with heavy rain coupled with Li leisurely dragging his tired body. Gradually, it was already a little overwhelmed at this time. Li leisurely stepped on the football to avoid the football being blown away by the wind. Originally 2 footballs, now only 1 remains. Just when the wind rose, 1 was blown away and rolled into the rushing river before it was rescued. It rained heavily for so long, the speed of the river was fast, it was simply too late, so there was only the last football left, and now Li Youran can only step on the ball and only let go when he is ready to play, and he must hurry, otherwise the football will be blown away immediately. There is not much time left before the end of the mission, and he only has the last ball left. At this moment the jersey on his body is stained with a lot of dirt, and the exposed parts of his hands and feet are also. In fact, after the wind he has fallen more than once, but each time he stood up again with some minor abrasions on his knees. But now he didn't have time to pay attention to so much. He was still 1 goal away, and the last goal he was about to finish, but time was running out. But his eyelids were heavy now. The hands and feet are as heavy as poured lead, and the physical strength has reached the limit now. The wind is very strong. He does not dare to rush such a strong wind now. The ball is simply unstable, can only look for when the wind is small, in case the wind is too strong. Change the trajectory of the football, did not kick into the goal. It is also not counted in the task, so he does not dare to be careless at the moment. The spirit did not dare to relax in the slightest. Although there was not much time, he still wanted to wait, carefully watching the system count down minute by minute. Nourish. At this time on the road, on the grassy slope, a limousine came to the side of the stadium. The door opened. A petite figure directly opened the door and ran down. The umbrella was not taken. The wind was very strong, but the girl still ran out without care. Miss, you didn't take an umbrella. The girl is no one else, it is Si Bo Shinchua. You can see from above the figure is still standing in the middle of the court. The wind and rain washed his body, but still standing. Sawamura in the rear quickly took an umbrella to help Si Bo Shinchua block the rain, although this time is obviously useless. Xiaoyu, the typhoon is coming, let's go. Li Youran also heard Si Bo Shinchua's voice, but there was no response, nor did he take the slightest action, as if there was only a goal in his eyes. Why? Can you really be so persistent if you like something? Listening to Li Yuran's lack of response, Sibo Shinchua couldn't help but be stunned in place. Can't help but mumble, can a person really be attached to something to this extent? She didn't know that Li Yuran had to finish today, so he might not be so persistent, but Sibo Shinchua didn't know and only felt that Li Yuran was obsessed with his dreams to the point of being obsessed. But in fact, there is nothing wrong, even if it is not a task. If it really reaches the threshold of his own success, Li Yuran will definitely not give up at this time. So Wamra on the side also heard Sibo Shinchua's words and couldn't help but look at the field, and his heart was equally amazed. This young man's willpower is really amazing. Episode 57. Miss, go back to the car. The typhoon is coming right away. It's dangerous. So Wamra looked at the situation in front of him. It was useless for him to hold an umbrella, and the umbrella was directly deformed, and it could not block the rain at all. But Sibo Shinchua did not move after hearing the sound, as if Li Yuran did not respond to her. She did not respond to Sawamura, but looked at Li Yuran in the stadium stunned. Bang! There was a sudden thunder in the sky, and Sibo Shinchua was startled, and after the thunder, Li Yuran in the wind and rain suddenly opened his eyes. Although the rain was cold, a flame burned in his eyes, and the wind seemed to stop at this moment. Even now, no matter how many opponents are in front of me, I will clear all obstacles with this shot. Li Yuran's heart roared firmly. Go ahead. Just after the thunder, Sibo Shinchua heard the sound in the stadium, quickly turned his head to look, caught the wind for a moment's stop. Li leisurely stepped back and raised his legs. The wind surged again, but at this moment it seemed that the speed of the wind was not as fast as Li Yuran. Bang! A powerful kick at the moment when Li Yuran's instep touched the football made a dull sound. The rain above the football seemed to be unable to withstand the power Li Yuran exerted on the football. At this moment directly exploded, and the black and white football broke through the violent storm. Roar! Woohoo! Sibo Shinchua and Sawamura, who had been watching the scene from the sidelines, were suddenly stunned in place, looking at the thin figure in the stadium in disbelief, and the moment this ball was kicked out, they saw a mighty red dragon quietly rising on the boy's body. I don't know if it's thunder or wind, maybe it's neither, maybe it's the roar of the dragon making the flesh and blood in the body boil. The ball shuttles and spins at high speed in the rain. At the same time of spinning, it seems to produce an amazing temperature. Even the rain can no longer soak the football. With a bang, the football shot into the net. The power is still constantly rotating in the football net, and the net that has long been in disrepair and itself is already tattered. Under the soaking of rain, it seems to become more fragile with the high-speed rotation of the football. The football at this moment, as if into a sharp razor, directly cut the rope of the net tear and pull break through the comfort of the net and hit the grass slope behind hard. Bang! With a loud noise, Sibo Shinchua subconsciously covered his ears, and the power of the football gradually slowed down, slowly rolled down from the grass and rolled back to the net behind the goal. Hohuli leisurely stood outside and watched the scene in front of him. His spirit finally relaxed, and a cheerful smile appeared on his face. I don't know if it was sweat or rain that kept leaving along my cheeks. Slowly Li Yuran suddenly knelt on the ground. I don't know if he was too tired or celebrating, and suddenly clenched his fists and raised his hands to the sky and shouted. The spirit relaxed. Li Yuran felt as if the strength of the body had been hollowed out. His hands were down and his body fell uncontrollably, but he did not hit the ground unexpectedly, but leaned in arms that was also wet by the rain, but could still feel the temperature. Xiao Yu, are you okay? Words of tender concern rang in my ears. Xiao Xua, I'm so happy. Listening to the caring voice, Li leisurely slowly raised his head. The smile on his face still did not disappear, and Sibo Shinchua was slightly stunned after hearing the sound. I don't know why. At first I obviously thought he was too persistent, but now when I see his smile, this feeling immediately disappears. As if everything was worth it, Sibo Shinchua couldn't help but turn her head to look in the direction of the goal. Just now she was all worried about Li Yuran, and now look at the direction of the goal. Her heart is secretly shocked. The shot just now is too amazing. What a mess in his heart. He was also very happy for Li Yuran. It seemed that he had succeeded, but he still only cared about him. You're not qualified to talk about me. With the little strength he had left, Li Yuran slowly supported the provincial body and leaned on Sibo Shinchua's shoulder and whispered, such a big typhoon it still came, but isn't it the same mess? But Li Yuran was very moved in his heart. Ha 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 ha. Then in the wind and rain, the joyful laughter of boys and girls was heard, which was unbearable to disturb. The wind and rain are getting bigger, and Sibo Shinchua originally planned to let Li Yuran go home with her first to rest and dry her clothes, but just about to leave, Li Jimei personally came to catch Li Yuran, and when her own car came, she naturally went back to her own home. And when Li Jimei came, she also noticed Sibo Shinchua. Although her hair and clothes were wet, she still did not lose everyone's beautiful temperament and greeted Li Jimei politely. But when she lowered her head to say hello, the expression on her face was a little unnatural. Although under such heavy rain, his cheeks were red with shyness, and Li Jimei looked at Sibo Shinchua and his eyes were also bright. And after learning the cause and effect from Sawamura, he even started a lot of Sibo Shinchua, and he didn't like it much. By the way, he also scolded Li Yuran, saying that he actually worried the girls and ran over in this situation. Li Yuran was mixed by Lu Bo on the side, indicating that he was a little speechless, and complained in his heart, "Who are you, mother?" But Li Jimei directly ignored Li Yuran's eyes and warmly invited Sibo Shinchua to be a guest at home and cleaned her clothes, by the way, but Sibo Shinchua appropriately said that she would have the opportunity to visit officially next time, so that Li Jimei liked it. Morin warmly invited her to come to the house next time as a guest. After Sibo Shinshue repeatedly said that he would be a guest, the two finally separated and went back to their respective homes. When he got to the car, Li Youran was naturally nagged by Li Jimei, but anyway the task was completed. A nagging meal was nothing to Li Youran. Li Jimei nagged Li Youran has entered the system interface 10W/10W. Task completion. Now it shows that the task is completed so that he can get the reward, but Li Youran is not in a hurry and plans to wait until he returns home to receive the task reward. Episode 58. Bite mission completed. To get a new shot, please enter the name of the new skill. Back home, Li leisurely went to take a hot bath. The fatigue on the body was instantly much less. Lying on the bed, greatly relieved, finally completed the task. The efforts of the past 2 weeks were finally not in vain. After confirming the completion of the task, the system sounded. Because it is his own original shot, so the system is not recorded. You need to set the name of your own original. Li Youran is also embarrassed to think choose a name or something the most difficult. Generally speaking, in the football player, everyone's shooting name is a name with the characteristics of the shot itself. Thinking of this, Li Youran also began to recall the characteristics of his shot. Yes, let's call the Yen Beast to shoot. His shot belongs to the power type, needs a more impactful name. When shooting, Li Youran has this feeling like a fierce beast on fire rushing to the goal. After thinking, determined the name. Bite name entered successfully. Skill level is being detected. Please wait for bite. After the skill level is detected, congratulations to the host and get the purple skill Flame Beast Shot. The skill created requires the system to carefully calculate its attributes, determine the level of the skill, and the final rating is a purple skill, which is a level with Sanshin's spinning shot. And after obtaining the skill, Li Youran quickly opened the interface to view the attributes. Purple Beast Shot. With enough power to make the football burn kick, a powerful shot as fierce as a fire dragon. S-ball speed. B consumption. Medium range. Far track type. Straight line. From the top of the panel, both the strength and the speed of the ball are more than Jun Misugi's spinning shot. The consumption is flat, but the range is higher than Jun Misugi's shot, but it is also because there is no technique in the shooting. Otherwise, the subtlety of the spinning shot is still stronger than the Yen Beast shot. Power type shooting does lack some skills, but in terms of 2 attributes it is completely suppressed, but it is also purple level. Obviously, if you want to exceed the purple level, the strength needs to at least exceed the S level, but I don't know what level Hinata Kojiro's tiger shot has reached, but presumably no matter how powerful it is impossible to exceed the S level. So, with the Yen Beast shooting, he also has confidence. Name: Li Youran. Age: 14. Good foot: right reverse foot. Grade C. Location: ST. Dribble: 28. Shots: 5. Physical fitness: 5. Speed: 42. Technology: 3. Offense: 4. Power: 52. Defense: 28. Passing: 22. Steals: 15. Teamwork: 2. After checking his attributes: counter-footing, shooting, physical fitness, technique, attack, strength, defense, this holiday has been improved from the original unrestrained chicken power to the highest strength attribute today. Finally have some whole cards. Defense and team cooperation is still a short board, but these games can still be honed. The next Li Youran main thing to improve is dribbling. Defense cannot worry for the time being. After all, he is a striker position, and as his strength and physical fitness improve, his defense will also improve, although it is only because the collateral effect does not improve much, but it should be enough for the time being. Now the main thing is to improve dribbling, by the way, to see if you can strengthen your dribbling and get new dribbling skills so that your attack will be much more ferocious as a striker. If you can't dribble, it really can't be said. Li family manner. Is Xiaoyu alright? In the evening, I received a call at home. It was directly to the house, and the maid answered and knew that it was Sibo Shinshue calling, so the maid quickly let Li Youran answer the phone. As soon as Li Youran answered the phone, Sibo Shinshue inquired about the situation. After all, today Li Youran looked tired and almost collapsed at the end of practice, and she was more concerned about Li Yuran's physical condition than football. It's okay now, thank you. Today, listening to Sibo Shinshue's concern, Li Youran felt warm in his heart. I didn't think so much when I was at the scene, but after I came back I thought about it carefully. Such a big typhoon she also came to find herself, and I was really touched in my heart. It's nothing besides someone doesn't appreciate it. Sibo Shinshue seemed to be calculating that Li Youran was completely ignoring her at that time, and he was worried that he would be in danger, so he braved the heavy rain to find him, but he still only had football in his eyes. Ahihi, I'm sorry, but thank you very much for coming to me today and for helping me deliver my bento. No need to be so polite. I'm also very happy to be able to help Xiaoyu, but when you look like this, Andy is not angry, right? Saying that he was still playing a little temper and slowly began to care about the situation on Li Yuran's side again. How can you not be angry and nag for a long time, but nagging doesn't forbid me to play? Well, don't do this again. Sibo Shinshue was relieved after hearing the sound. She was really a little worried. Because of this matter, Li Jimei no longer let Li Youran play. I know, but so are you. Don't mess around like that in the future. Although he is also very messy, but after all it is for his own beliefs and tasks. But Sibo Shinshue is different. He is a girl himself. If something happens because of this, his heart will be overwhelmed. Good listening to Li Yuran's words. towards Sibo Shinshua felt deep concern and responded with a soft voice. Then you rest early. See you at school tomorrow. After speaking, Li Youran glanced at the time and then spoke. School will reopen tomorrow, but fortunately the typhoon has passed, so school can start normally tomorrow, and there is no need to worry about delaying the start of school. Okay, see you tomorrow. Good night, Xiaoyu. Good night. After saying good night to each other, they hung up the phone with each other, and Li Youran couldn't help but smile when he looked at the phone. Note: you don't have to care too much about the name of the skill as for what kind of level it is borrowed from the game. In the game, the tiger shot is only a level power. To be honest, it feels a little pulled because the 3-seater spinning shots, winging volleys are also a level. It feels really a bit. As for the S-class in the game, only 3 people have reached it, namely Schneider Diaz and the newly added DLC Pepe, which means that the power of the tiger's shot is not as powerful as the 3 of them. But I can't compare to them, and the strength must be better than the pumping shot, and so on. So in the future, in terms of skill setting, a level will have plus levels such as pumping a level, tiger shooting a plus. Episode 59. Hung up the phone, glanced outside. The typhoon had stopped and looked at the time again. It was only after 7 o'clock in the evening, although the day was very tired, but after an afternoon of rest and recovery somewhat. I don't know if they're still there. Looking out the window, I couldn't help but think of the players when the typhoon came in the afternoon. They definitely didn't go to practice, and I don't know if they're still there. Mom, I'll go out. Changed into long sportswear and put on shoes. Li Youran went out because he didn't bring football, so Li Jimei didn't worry too much, just let him go home early and left home. Li Youran jogged in the direction of the school, came to the outside of the school when it was far away. You can already see the back of the school. The direction lights of the football field are still on, and Li Youran saw the dark passage sure enough. Glancing at the time, running over to now, it's past 8 o'clock. Taking a look at the convenience store outside the school, Li Youran walked over. Usually often come is already very familiar. When he saw Li Youran, the clerk also said hello to Li Youran. Simply bought some sports drinks and some food, and then carried 2 large bags into the school. The lights were turned off everywhere, only the football field was still on. Li leisurely carried the bag to the outside of the football field. Standing on the grassy slope and looking, everyone was still concentrating on training at this time and did not notice Li Yuran's arrival. Even Misugi-chan had not yet returned. Li Youran slipped down the slope when he saw this. Everyone falling into the field. Li Youran shouted into the field. Huh? It's a leisurely June. When everyone turned their heads, they immediately found Li Youran, and they all left their training and gathered over. They didn't see each other for a holiday, and everyone still missed it very much, and has begun to adapt to the existence of Li Youran. When the team is training, he has begun to be a little unaccustomed to Li Yuran's absence, and Misugi-jun himself has found that when Li Youran is not there, the overall offensive efficiency of the team has indeed decreased a lot. You guys don't come to the team training. Do you want to be lazy? Everyone gathered, and like old friends, Minoru Hanma as the vice captain also quipped. I'm not going to be lazy. By the way, I brought things for everyone. Li Youran smiled. This feeling of talking and laughing with his teammates is still very warm, and then shook the bag in his hand and said, Yay, great, I'm just hungry. I'm hungry too. Everyone listened, immediately took the bag, quickly grabbed everything. Jun Misugi also walked over, did not eat, just took a bottle of drink, and then announced a temporary rest. Everyone sat around the stadium. By the way, the captain said that you went to the special training yourself. How was the result? After everyone sat down, Sonata Shinji spoke at the same time. I had time to see you. Of course it was done sitting next to Jun Sansuji. Junli said with a smile. Really? Let's take a look, shall we? Hearing this, everyone was interested, wanting to see Li Yuran's training success. Don't worry, don't you know when you play? Li Youran listened and said with a faint smile, although he also wanted to try the power of the Yen Beast shot. But before the time of the competition, there is no need to be too anxious, and there is no need to use it in the team training for the time being. The game is approaching. He wants to wait until the rookie tryouts to try again, and then talk about this trick, even if it is a rookie tryout. If it is not a difficult opponent, he will not use it in the face of those talented opponents. It is of course better to have reservations easy to use so that those talented players can see, even if they may not be able to block. But after all, there is a defense. What hide from us? Hearing Li Youran say this, the team members also complained. In fact, they were looking forward to Li Yuran's training results in this regard. Li Youran just smiled and said nothing. Well, since Yuranjin said so, everyone don't force it anymore. The game is approaching and other teams have begun to pay attention to the situation of the opponent, and it is right to have reservations. At this time, Jun Misugi, who is the captain, also spoke. He is not a flamboyant person himself. The reason why he is so famous can only be said to be that he is too good, but on the court, new moves that have not been seen can always achieve special results, which is not wrong, and Li Youran can be understood. Since the captain said so, then forget it. When the time comes, let us have a good look. Everyone complained. In fact, it was not angry, it was just a joke between teammates, and after Jun Misugi spoke, everyone didn't say more, but they were still looking forward to it. Of course, 10W ball, I don't want to practice for nothing. 10W. After listening to Li Yuran's words, and then looking at Li Yuran's calm expression, everyone was not calm. Even the calmest Sansuji-chan had a surprised look on his face. What is the concept of 10W ball? 15 days. In other words, it takes nearly 7,000 balls a day to be able to complete this holiday. If the typhoon is not practiced today, then the time pressure in the previous period of time will be greater. But with his understanding of Li Youran, I am afraid that he is also practicing today. You guy, you're a monster, right? Even though they usually train hard, they are a bit unbelievable. They have played football for so many years, whether they have shot 10W balls do not know, even if their art is accumulated over so many years. Li Youran actually completed 10W balls in 15 days and looked at Li Youran with the eyes of a monster for a while. Compared with the surprise of others for Jun Sansuji, after the surprise it was more gratifying. He had felt that Li Youran was amazingly talented. From knowing Li Youran to now, to be honest, among the people he had seen, only Xiao Yi had such talent. Of course, he also knows that Tsubasa is hard in addition to talent, and he himself asking himself that talent is not lost to Tsubasa, but he can't work as hard as Tsubasa because his physical condition does not allow it. He knows that it is not enough for a person to have talent. Li Youran has talent and can train so hard, it really makes him feel very relieved and more determined. With Li Youran here, they will definitely be able to achieve good results this time. Maybe Li Youran can surpass him and Xiao Yi. Note: the books of the capital are all about thousands of episodes of water. Don't like it. Episode 60. Placing Li Youran at the height of Tsubasa is undoubtedly Jun Misugi's recognition of Li Youran, and although he has seen many geniuses, Tsubasa is the undisputed first. Originally, after the national competition, he planned to temporarily stop football and start treating his heart disease, but the upcoming National Junior Championship made him hesitate. He was well aware of his physical condition. Not to mention the World Junior Championship, even if it is a rookie tryout, he may not be able to survive it. It has been a while since the national competition, and those fierce opponents in the past must be training hard, and their strength is definitely stronger than before. And the rookie tryout contains more significance determining whether it can represent the country to play, so it will definitely work harder than in the national competition, and the intensity of the competition will definitely be better than the national competition. Not to mention Hinata Matsuyama and other players who are already strong in this tryout. Tsubasa's appearance on behalf of the team will be different from when it was in the national competition. At that time, Tsubasa went into battle with an injury and eventually went to the national championship, and this time all teams had to face Tsubasa, who had recovered from injury. For Jun Misugi, no matter how enthusiastic he is about football, he will worry that his body cannot support it until Li Youran's appearance made him make up his mind. Even if his body can't support it, he must lead the team to win a championship. This time, with the secret weapon of Uranjin, we will definitely be able to defeat Nange. Come on. After the surprise, everyone was more surprised, and Minoru Hanma, as the vice captain, took the lead in raising the drink. Come on, everyone followed suit, and Li Youran and Jun Sansuji also raised their drinks. It's been a long time since I encouraged myself with my teammates, and I was really lucky to start over, and I only had to think about football. I didn't have to worry about anything else, and I was more determined not to let these teammates who unconditionally supported him down. Everyone is also tired this holiday tonight. I will practice here tomorrow. I have to go to school. Everyone go back early. After glancing at the time, he was going to practice for a while, but because Li came over leisurely and rested for a while because school would start tomorrow and couldn't practice too late, Jun Misugi asked the team to go back to rest first. Jun Misugi, whose academic performance is as good as football, does not want the players to be affected by excessive practice. Although he likes football, he also knows that there are few people who can rely on football in the future, and learning is still the first priority. Yes, Li Youran didn't continue to stay. In fact, he couldn't stay at home, and he couldn't sleep so early, thinking that they might still be training, so he ran over to take a look, and after getting together with the players, he was in a much better mood, and he could sleep well when he went back the next day. I'm going to school. Early the next morning after breakfast, Li Youran set off for school. 15 days of vacation just started. Many students in the school are greeting each other. Li Youran arrived at the school, also met some classmates of the same age to say hello. Now Li Youran is also a celebrity in the school, and he still attracts more attention when he enters the school, especially some girls. After coming to the school, Li Youran did not rush to the class, but went directly to the football field. At this time, there are not many people in the football field. There are only Moriyama, Mito, Sanada, Shinji, Sano, Raichi, Nishiyama, Koji. Several starters there are. Also some football club players. Every school football club is not just the main player because this world football is prevalent, so if there are many people in the football club, but not many people can really play, but this does not hinder their enthusiasm for football. Yo leisurely June early when he saw Li Youran enter the factory. Sanada, Shinji, and others greeted him immediately. Early, Li Youran also responded and then walked into the stadium, and after seeing Li Yuran's arrival, Sano Raichi also lifted the ball at his feet to Li Youran. How about it, let's see the results of your training. As soon as Sano Liang spoke, of course, he did not say this to let Li Youran use his full strength, but after all, Li Youran boasted that he practiced 10W balls. Even if he did not use full strength, I believe he could feel the progress. Okay, Li Youran did not object. Moriyama Mion himself stood in the goal position. Li Youran and Sanada Shinji stood together. There were still 2 or 3 steps away from the position of the big penalty area, and as soon as the words fell, a fine light flashed in his eyes. Bang bang. Feet on the grass with a flash of essence in the eyes ran towards the football. The big foot fell. The football instantly slammed. Not the flame beast shot. The football spun out at a very fast speed. guaranteed. Shout bang yikes. The football turned into a streamline, broke through the air, and entered the penalty area in the blink of an eye, passing directly past Moriyama Mion, who still maintained a goal-guarding posture. The pupils of his eyes shrank like pinholes, and he looked ahead in surprise, unable to speak, opening his mouth slightly, and his throat seemed to want to speak, but could not speak. Good, it's amazing. Several people were a little stunned. Even if you are mentally prepared, you can't help but secretly say in your heart, is this a genius? Li Youran uses a sonic shot, although the skill itself has an upper limit, but this holiday, because of the practice of Yen Beast shooting, Li Youran's strength and shooting have been greatly improved. If his own attributes are strong enough, even ordinary shots can increase his power, but the improvement is only limited. But although Moriyama Mion is the starting goalkeeper in Musashi country, he is too far behind the top goalkeeper and has not been selected for the World Junior Championship. And Li Youran's current level, regardless of the rest, if you just say shooting, it has reached the level of the World Junior Championship. But thinking of this, it made Li Youran have other thoughts in his heart, so to speak. Although he said that he had to have reservations, he really wanted to make sure that the Yen Beast shot against the world's junior goalkeeper could work. This is crucial. You can't just rush around at the World Junior Championships, right? However, in the current island country, there are not many goalkeepers at the level of the World Junior Championship.